Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Hi, Dylan. Nice to meet you.
Hey, you too. How you doing?
Good. Bright and early. Thanks for doing this early
Yep.
with me.
Hmm.
Appreciate it. So
Yeah,
where are you at? Like where are you based?
I'm Mississippi.
Okay, cool. I've never been to Mississippi.
You're not missing much.
That sounds like what I would say if someone said they'd never been to Virginia. That's where I'm from. I'm there right now.
Real quick before we start, can you hear me okay? I've been having trouble with my mic, and if at any point you can't hear me, we'll stop real quick and I'll fix it. So if you can hear me
Okay.
okay, we're good.
No, I can hear you great.
Okay, all right. So you're in Virginia right now? Is that what you just said?
Yes, I am. I came home from Nashville for the
Uh-huh.
holidays. I'm here for a whole month.
So you're there
Might as
throughout
well.
Christmas.
Yeah, I go to Belmont, and
Hmm.
classes ended at the Friday before Thanksgiving. So I figured, well, I'm not really working much in Nashville. Just come home and work for my dad.
Can't really do much in Nashville right now. Anywhere,
No, really
honestly.
isn't. I know.
So your dad's a farmer? Is that right?
Yes, he is.
Mm.
Yeah, so there's like hundreds of acres for me to roam here, which is nice because in Nashville I'm in this little apartment with a balcony and no grass.
Man, I remember I didn't grow up on a farm, and I'm thankful, but I had to take agriculture in high school. I went to an agricultural high school. That was the worst
That's cool.
2 years of my life. No, it was rough because I don't mind getting dirty, but it's like I'm just a big germaphobe anyway. So it's kind of like I'm out here with
Ah,
these cows and these horses, and they stink. So
oh,
I'm out.
dude, you would not like it then.
Oh no, I have. My dad has always kept up. We used to have like a bunch of goats, and he used to keep cows and pigs for a long time, and it was just for me, it was an experience that I don't want to relive. So it's like I want to get out into the
That's
city
okay.
because I just live so far in the
Not,
country now, and it's just like I want to see other parts than just woods and nothing else.
yeah. I definitely got a better appreciation for it when I moved to the city 3 years ago.
Mm,
And now I really enjoy coming home more. When I lived here for 18 years, same house, same
mm.
everything. And I think I got too used to it. But then going to the city, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to come back. But dude, if you're a germaphobe, you would not like to hear some of the things that have flown into my mouth.
Yeah, I know.
I was,
Oh man.
I'm just not going to go on. I'm just not going to go on. It
No,
happens sometimes.
yeah, absolutely. And it's like I'm one of those germaphobes that are to a certain extent like I could go outside and I can sweat and get dirt on my hands, but it's like as soon as I come in, I'm not going to sit there in it. I'm not going to sit in the filth. I'm not
Yeah.
going to jump in the shower real quick. it's
It's nice to be clean. No one can
I
deny
love
that.
being clean. Yeah. And then it's like as soon as you're like as OCD as I am, like we just had this big rainstorm for like 3 days, and my closet just like exploded. It flooded my whole closet. So like I got clothes all over my
Yeah.
floor that are wet. And like I got to go wash them today.
Oh
It's
no.
yeah, it's rough.
Dude, I'm sorry. That's no fun. The rain is hitting here today. So that is making its way.
Well, let me ask you this: when you're living on a farm, when the rain comes, because I've done hard work in my day, I know when it's rain, that's a rain day. You don't have to go to work because you're outside. That doesn't really stop that, does it? It just makes it for a more irritating day.
Yeah, it does. See, we're after this, we're working cows, and we'll try to get the cows in before, and then luckily, since it's raining today, we had stuff planned to do in the barn. But I've stood out in the rain and worked before. Like you just got to do what you got to do.
What's
That's
the
what raincoats are for.
what's the hardest thing you've ever done, like on the farm wise? Like,
Hmm. The hardest thing. Honestly, the hardest thing was pressure washing an entire turkey house.
yeah, that's
Uh,
rough.
we have turkeys and they're in these long houses, and you have to completely sanitize them before new turkeys come in. And it
Mm.
is a very long, probably 20-step process. And power washing is so, it just like kicks your arm back the whole time, and it gets
Have
tiring.
I did this. I pressure wash all the time, the house on the side. And one time I made the mistake of I stepped in ants and I thought about the pressure washer and drowning the ants and I sprayed my leg. Oh, it
Oh
takes all the
no.
skin off your legs and it's like, oh man.
Oh, dude. I couldn't imagine that. You poor thing.
I'll be okay. I live. Obviously, I live through it. So you mentioned pressure washing was hard. What about training your sister's cows? Was that kind of hard too?
Wow, you know everything. That is hard.
Is it?
Um,
Yeah.
because you have to tame cows, and my dad is really good about getting cows trained to come to grain or a cattle
Okay.
call. But when you have to train them, it's like this whole new thing for cows because they have a halter on and they don't like to be controlled. So what we luckily have is there's a post to hold up the barn right in front of the cattle chute. The cattle chute
Okay.
is the cows stand in when you vaccinate them or check if they're pregnant, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So we'll put them on the halter and let them loose and tie them to that pole right in front. And then you just stand beside them and talk to them and feed them for hours on end every day for like an hour or two. So they get used to you. And like now, the cows that I trained this summer, I feed them every day and they run right up to me. And they're super friendly. Like it's great. It's like having pet cows, but it is hard. It's a lot of pulling and trying to teach the cow that you're the boss now. But then they get sweet on you after a while.
I remember during that agriculture class, like they had people that would like show sheep and goats and cows. What are you preparing them to do? Like, what are you showing? Are you showing off how nice they look? Or, I mean, I don't think they can do tricks. And you probably think I'm
Yeah.
sounding like an idiot here. I mean, but I don't know, and I'm
No, it's
curious.
okay. Definitely not tricks. That's really funny though. We're showing off like the bodies of the cows. And because a lot of times how good an animal looks on the outside can say a lot about how it will taste meat wise.
Okay.
And there's also like 4-H competitions about their meat grade. I think they do an ultrasound for them, and then that's a way they can tell if they're gonna be like a good cow. Um, but yeah, no tricks. And there's also a thing where they judge you on like the person on how well
Wow.
you
Okay.
work with the animal, how much you know about the animal. I did it for 13 years and I loved it, but it was a lot of work. Every summer, get up there and show all these cows.
Do you ever like because do you are you the type of farm that just ships them off, or do you use the cows and get it from meat and stuff like that?
Let's see, my dad runs a cow calf operation.
Okay.
So each spring and fall, there's babies born. And then we keep the girls and sell the boys. Keep the heifers, sell the steers. And yeah, so there's always rotating. We normally raise up one cow every 2 years for ourselves. Other than that, dad's just taking them to the market.
Gotcha. So is it hard trying to get attached, like getting attached to these animals and then knowing they're going to have to leave in 2 years or so?
For some reason, it's never been hard for me. Maybe
Okay.
it's because I grew up with it and it's
Yeah.
like the only thing. But like right now, there's a cow in the barn named Cookie that we're feeding until she's big enough to get eaten. And maybe I'm just smart enough at this point to not grow an attachment.
Yeah, it's
And maybe it's because I don't like Cookie. She can be a little aggressive.
okay. I got you. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
have you ever saw The Ranch on Netflix?
I haven't watched that yet. It's got
Okay.
Ashton Kutcher in it, right?
Yes, and that's one reason I watch it because I'm a big fan of Ashton Kutcher. But I wonder because they kind of they own a ranch, and the whole process is kind of what I experienced in agriculture. And I was wondering if that show maybe had any kind of similarities to what it was like living on a farm.
Well, I'll have to watch it and get back to you, because right
Yeah,
now I haven't watched that show at
yeah.
all, and I
Mm.
should, because the main guy, Sam, the actor
Sam
Sam
Elliott.
something with, yeah, with the
Yeah.
squirrel on his face. My dad looks just like him.
He he does, and he kind of has your dad. I was watching some of your vlogs on YouTube, and I saw that your dad kind of has like one of those Fu Manchu mustaches. Like it goes like a
Uh-huh.
motorcycle gang type of mustache.
I've never seen that man without that type of mustache, just going straight down to the sides of
Really, he's
his
had that for
chin
forever, huh?
my whole life. He has worn the same shirts, the same, he doesn't change style. My mom and I have, over the years changed how we dress and changed hair. But
Yeah.
dad is always boots, Wranglers, belt, and a Wrangler pearl snap, button up
Everywhere he
snap
goes.
everywhere.
It sounds like my
It's pretty
grandpa at
funny.
one point. Like my grandpa was and my dad's in construction, and so before he died, I was like 5 when he died, so I don't really remember much. But I remember he always wore Wrangler blue jeans. They had to be the Wrangler from Walmart. Wore a black belt,
Hmm.
work steel-toed boots, and either a button-up short sleeve or a button-up long sleeve. Wore his hair the same way, parted it the same way every day. So
That's so
I
funny.
understand well, I guess you could call it set in their ways. Like they're not going to change no
Yeah.
matter what happens.
I guess if you find something that works, you stick with it.
So tell me about playing the oboe and how did that transition to guitar?
Oh, goodness. Well, my aunt is a professional oboe player. She studied it. It was her main instrument in college, and now she's a music teacher.
Mm,
So when I went into band at 6th grade, I was the first kid in the family to go into band because I'm the oldest. And I thought my aunt's oboe was cool. So I was like, okay, give me an oboe. And I started playing it. Oh gosh, I was never good, Dylan. I thought I was good,
mhm.
but Lord, I sounded like a duck the whole time. It was
Yeah, but
bad.
doesn't everybody, like I'm pretty sure you sounded like that when you started playing guitar as well.
You're right. You're right. But yeah, oboe. I started playing oboe, and then um, right before I started playing oboe, I was starting to play shows, do little like talent shows and stuff. And then for some reason, my grandmother just bought me a guitar. I don't know. I was like 11, I think. I'm not sure if I asked her for a guitar or they just knew I liked country music
Yeah.
and thought that that would be a good instrument for me. But I kept up the oboe and guitar. I took guitar lessons for like 6 years and played oboe until I graduated high school. Believe it or not, it's sitting over there. It is really under cared for. That oboe probably won't get played again, but it's nice to have.
Tell me about this blissful bubble that you consider yourself that you live in.
Blissful bubble. Where's my blissful bubble? You mean my COVID bubble?
Sure.
Uh, let's see. To keep safe in Nashville during COVID, my best friends and I just sort of created this bubble where there's 4 of them that live in one house. I live with my roommate, 2 of us, and then 2 others in an apartment across from the house. And so we created this COVID bubble uh, where we're the only people around each other, and
Mm.
we mask up and distance from everyone else, and basically like respect everyone and try to protect each other from the virus while not going crazy being alone. It's really nice. Like you can have pretty good parties with just like 5 people.
Yeah. So I want to ask this, and I don't want to get too personal, but obviously everyone's afraid of this virus, but kind of
Uh-huh.
where I am growing up, it's like here in Mississippi, for 22 years, it's been the same and it's been strictly Republican. Like, and this year, because of what's happened, I decided against it for the first time when I voted for the first time to vote the opposite side.
Hmm.
And now it's like you're a disgrace, you're this, you're that, because you're a disappointment of the name. So I wonder, has there ever been any kind of conflict like that on any side of your family where you're just like, okay, I have to distance myself?
I've been really lucky. I haven't had to do that. My family is people in my family range from all views, but
Yeah.
everyone's been really respectful of each other. So I feel really lucky in that sense. In high school, there were people mad at me because I do have more progressive views, and I live in a very rural area. And so in high school, I had planned this big women's rights rally in my hometown, and
Yeah.
people were pissed at me.
I bet. I
Oh,
bet.
they were. I got so many emails, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing my thing. And
Hmm.
my thing is, if you show me respect, I'll show you respect. So like, just because we have different views doesn't mean that I'm
Hmm.
gonna be mean to you or that you should be mean to me. So luckily, that's transferred well into my family because that's basically how my family is.
I did my county did like a Black Lives Matter get together, but it was one of those where you weren't going to destroy signs and artifacts. It was just a peaceful get together. And I remember I did a
Hmm.
podcast with two of my friends who are Black on the subject. After the thing, we got together, we did a podcast. And gratefully, I had a thought. I was like, I need to do it. Something's telling me to do it. And it's like the biggest podcast I've ever done. And it's like,
Oh wow.
okay. And then, but I also see where it's kind of like my family, they're like, growing up, the N word was not a curse word. That was just a word you use in everyday life. So you need to distance yourself from the people and stick with your white natured self. And I'm like, it's the same thing with the women's rights. Like, if you want to do it, who cares? Like, it's not your body. If they want to do, who
Yeah.
cares if you, sure, am I going to go get an abortion? I may not, but I'm not going to disagree with someone that does. I'm not going to go, you need to do it because I disagree with you. It makes you
I
happy,
like the
go
way you
do it.
think. Yeah. To each their own, man. Especially when it comes to bodies.
Absolutely. It's like, if I want to be fat, I'm going to stay fat. You're not going to say nothing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like, you can be skinny. No
Yeah.
one's going to say anything. So it's like, what does this matter now? You're going to go get a tattoo? Well, go get a tattoo. What does it matter?
Yeah, I agree. I like the way you think. I'll have to listen to those podcasts.
Well, they're,
Catch
they're
up on
not that
those.
good like this one. It's not that good, but
Oh.
tell me about when you come home, you take over the big sister role. What exactly does that mean in your mind? Or what does that
Well,
entail?
it right now it entails me taking over teaching my siblings their online classes because my parents both work full time. I mean, dad works 7 days a week, mom works a full time job, and they're running an Airbnb up the road too. And so mom is like
Okay.
spending half of her nights every week cleaning so people can come in and out, which is really cool for them to have that going. But it's hard for them to find time to help the kids. So since I'm here, I'm in charge. Like I got a text this morning that was like, homework is due at 4. Please make sure they do it and do it right.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's part of it. A lot of it is, it's funny. I can convince the kids to do things so much easier as the big sister than my parents. My parents have such a hard time sometimes, like convincing them to go out to the barn or something. And I
Mhm.
think part of it is that they don't get to see me much. So if I'm going, they'll go. Um,
Yeah.
like we did a big family hike yesterday. We hiked 7.5 miles up a mountain right in front of our house. And it took a lot of convincing, but I got my 12-year-old brother to go, and he just likes to play video games. So um, that and a lot of times they're asking me to take them to cookout and helping them decide what to wear. Like, I don't know, being a big sister, but helping out and convincing them to be better kids for my parents. Easier to handle trying to convince them.
Mhm.
Because these McDonald's, they are sassy.
You know, I know a lot of McDonald's that are the same way. Like when you mentioned sassy, like I wonder if it's just the bloodline of McDonald's. Like I know not every McDonald
Maybe it
is
is.
is related in a certain way, but I wonder if it's I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if they were like called
Maybe.
Ronald their whole time or something like that. I just
Oh, that's funny.
you know.
Yeah, there's maybe it is a blood thing. I don't know. It's stubborn and sassy, and they know what they want. I'll tell you that.
Well, SJ, I want to tell you how obviously a lot of people know you from TikTok, and that's where I initially saw you. It was on my For You page, and I was flipping through, and Jesus and Janice came on, and
Oh gosh.
it was just like 60 seconds, and I was listening, and it didn't because a lot of people are doing the music thing on TikTok now, so it was
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those initial eye rolls, and it was kind of like,
Mhm.
oh,
I
here
can
we go,
imagine.
here we go, and then it was like once you hit that chorus of Jesus and Janice, I was like, whoa, hang on a second, that was actually pretty decent, and then I actually went and listened to the whole thing, and I was like, wow, okay, let's see if she'll do the podcast, and then here we are.
Well, I'm always down to chat and meet new people. It's so weird to think that my face is coming up on people's For You page. Um, it's weird, and I'm after Jesus and Janice blew up, I was like, what do I do next? Because I was
Yeah.
just using my TikTok for, gosh, I was posting pictures of me dancing to the WAP dance to the wrong songs for fun, which is super fun. I did one to the Home Depot theme song. That was fun.
Okay, I got you. The
And
boom,
then I did
boom,
one
boom,
to,
boom.
yes,
Okay.
because there's so many things that could line up with that dance.
Sure, sure.
Like I did one on there to Cantina, the Cantina song from Star Wars. Like so fun. That's off topic, but TikTok is so weird. Like it's just weird, man. But in a cool way. I ordered a ring light because the lighting at my parents' place is a little, we live in an old house, so it's
Yeah.
just like not the best lighting unless if you're sitting at a window in the middle of the day. So I ordered me a ring light. It's coming in this week, so I can start TikToking more.
Mhm. And no, you're never off topic on this podcast because we've been all over the place, as you can tell. I don't like staying on
Hush,
topic.
hush.
I don't like getting musicians on and basically telling their whole story 8 different times
I like that.
because I know that if you have fans, well, obviously you do have fans, but if they're going to listen to everything you do, they're going to know your story inside and out better than you do, probably. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
let's get them on. Let's just have a chat and see what's actually going on inside their minds while getting to know
You
them a
ask
little
good
bit.
questions. You ask questions. I did not expect these questions. You're doing good.
Well,
I give you 5 stars.
I appreciate that. Let me
I
ask
give
you
you a like and a
this:
share.
when you were banned from TikTok for commenting on everybody's
Yeah,
posts,
dude.
what was how did that actually come about? Because I realized that I think I read or somewhere that you were commenting, you wanted to comment to everyone, and then they were like, nope, can't do
Yeah,
that.
it's so weird. Like Jesus and Janice was blowing up. It was
Mhm.
probably at like, from one day it went from like 11,000 views to 100,000 or something.
On
And
a
people were
day.
commenting out of the wazoo. Yeah, it's crazy. Good thing I don't have my notifications turned on TikTok. That's all I'll say. But I was on the app all day, and I wanted to respond to everyone to let them know, because it's just so cool. I've seen like musicians blow up on TikTok because they're
Mhm.
covering a song or doing a singing challenge, but the fact that it was a song that I wrote just
Right.
made it so much cooler. And I wanted to talk to everyone. And then TikTok kept giving me this thing at the top of the screen that was like, hold on, you're going too fast. And it wouldn't let me comment on Jesus and Janice for like 12 hours.
Did they ever give you a reason why? Because that's kind of weird
No.
because on YouTube I can comment to, like, if I post these videos up, I can comment who I want to however many times and just have a conversation if I wanted to. I wonder, I don't know. I wonder if the website was crashing on like your end, or they were. I don't know. I'm wondering what that was
Maybe.
about. Why that was happening.
Or maybe I commented so much it thought I was like a bot or something.
No,
I
that's
am
a good
a
possibility. That's a good
bot.
possibility.
But yeah, it was so weird. I was so heartbroken because I kept seeing all these comments and I was like, oh no, think I'm rude.
But you mentioned earlier, and I understand where you said when Jesus and Janice got like 100,000 views or whatever it may be on TikTok, you're like, where do I go from here? I can understand that fully because it was like when that Black Lives Matter podcast came out. Before that, the biggest one was like Upchurch or something like that. And then it was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And then when this one happened, it's like the next one you put out gets lower and lower views. And you're just like, uh-oh, what did I do wrong? Let me find the gap here. And you're just going to be hating on yourself forever. But I don't know. I don't know. But what's your mindset towards, like you said, uh-oh, what can I do next?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it was the super cool part about it was that it blew up on my original song. So I decided to just start posting originals every Saturday.
Mhm.
I chose Saturday because that's the day I posted Jesus and Janice.
Okay.
And yeah, so let's see. I think I've posted 4 original songs by now.
Mhm.
And the one I posted after Jesus and Janice got like over 40,000 views on TikTok, which was so cool. But then I really haven't gotten anything past like 5 or 6,000 the last 2 times. So I'm trying. It's still cool to know that like 6,000 people are listening to your song. But it's such a weird feeling when you have that thing blow up and like you said, and then you just watch the numbers go down and it's all by chance. And
Yeah.
I just try to remind myself that there are more important things than TikTok views.
Well, I would look at because, for a while there, people were always like, a book changed my life. I read this book and it changed my life. I never had that happen. And then coincidentally, Matthew McConaughey released a book and he called it Green Lights. And the whole point
Have
of
you
the
read that?
book, I have read it.
Is it good? Should I get it?
It's fantastic. Let me
I love McConaughey, man.
I got the book. I like him okay. I like him better now that I read the book, but I got it kind of as a haha, look what I got, mom, because that's like her celebrity crush. And it was kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
mom, look what I got. You don't have it, haha. And then I was like, I'm not going to waste $30 and I read it. So I read it and I was like, this book is freaking fascinating. It's fantastic. It's great. And the whole point of his book is he's going through his life story and he's like, look, there's all these red lights, yellow lights in life. They're going to stop you. They're going to slow you down. Then you're going to hit a red light. Then you're going to think, oh my God, what's coming next? But then there's always a green light that's going to change. It could be to the right, could be to the left, could be straight forward. So there's always a green light and a red light. And I was like, now I'm using that in my everyday life. And I'm like, this book actually changed my life for the better in that form.
Damn. I saw that book on Amazon and I thought about buying it. I think I might now.
I would say, what? I don't think if you're not a McConaughey fan, I don't think you should get it. I mean, because he talks about his life. But if you are a McConaughey fan, I would say read it. It's fantastic. One of the best books I've read in a really, really long time. And that says a lot because I have a library of books that I've read and that I'm going to read.
Nice. I need to read more, but I am a diehard McConaughey fan. If he walked in the room right now, I would probably faint and just want to look at him.
So what's your favorite McConaughey movie?
Oh gosh. I love the movie. What's it called? I'm so bad with movie names. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that the one he's in? I love those rom-coms, dude. I love a crappy movie.
After I read Green Lights, and I was like, well, obviously I'm going to start watching everything he was in from the point to just to realize what I didn't really care for How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days because I do movie reviews on the podcast before, it goes a movie review and then a regular podcast. And I reviewed the movie and I didn't understand the movie a little. Like, I didn't understand the concept. I understood like she worked for a magazine and he worked for a business and they were each trying to break up or do right. But then my whole point was Matthew McConaughey, he was a business guy in the movie. And then at the end, these two girls that work for the business just out of nowhere said, hey, he's doing this for you, yada yada, and then she broke up with him. It was like that didn't make any sense at all because those two girls had no point of the whole plot line.
I don't think I remember the movie much now then. It's been a while. I usually watch it like once a year. I'm just
Okay.
such a sucker for a rom-com, even with plot holes. It's so funny. My friends are very much like the movie has to be good with no plot holes. And I'm like, give it to me. I
Uh-huh.
watch bad movies all the time and I don't even know why.
You know,
But that's
I,
funny. I'll re
I like a rom com if I know or a fan of the person in the movie.
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm a big
It
Ashton
does.
Kutcher, Ben Stiller type of guy, and I'm like, if they're in any movie, don't matter what it is, I'm gonna watch it. And it was like,
That's like
go ahead.
that's like me with Jennifer Aniston. If she's in
Okay,
anything, I'll watch
yeah.
it. Or Adam Sandler,
Adam Sandler's
classic.
one of them. But I remember, and I want to get your take on this. Is why I'm going to bring this up. I remember Ashton Kutcher played in this movie, No Strings Attached, and I knew what the movie was about.
I think I've seen that.
And I was like, I'm not going to watch it just for the heck. I was like, I'm not going to watch it just because it's a big sex movie, and I'm a guy watching it alone in my room on the couch. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to watch it. And then everybody's like, no, it's a good movie. The movie was not the best movie, and it was actually dirtier than what I pictured it to be. And I was like, okay. So like, is there?
Is that the one? Is
It's
that the
got
one where he's like dating a doctor or something? A nurse? She's a
yes. It's
doctor?
what is her name? Kate Kate
Keira
Upton?
Knightley?
No, hang on.
Oh,
I have it written down, I think, somewhere.
I'm Googling it. Oh,
Okay.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie
Natalie
Portman. That's
Portman.
it. That's it.
They ruined their friendship by doing the deed.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting. I it's been a while since I've seen that too, but
Yeah.
that I like that movie. I would guarantee you, Dylan, I probably liked it.
But here's my question. Is there a movie where you're just like who's your favorite actor of all time? Like if there's Jennifer Aniston, you done said that. Jennifer Aniston.
I do love Jennifer Aniston.
Let's say if she's in a risque type movie and you know it's going to be like that, or they brand it as a terrible movie, are you going to watch it just because she's in it?
Probably.
Okay.
I have no shame in my game. I'm
I
probably
do.
going to watch it
I
just
do
to
that.
see.
I do that a lot with like Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey.
Mhm.
You know.
See, I don't love Jim Carrey for some reason. I don't love him.
No, but
Maybe he just freaked.
I can
Maybe he
understand
just.
because
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to interrupt. We're just.
You're good. You're good.
But I can understand a lot of people's. They don't like him because he's the air quote idiot movie guy. Like all of his roles, he's an idiot. Like Ace Ventura or Lloyd Christmas and Dumb and Dumber.
Hmm.
And I think Will Ferrell just has a goofy side that's not as goofy or crazy as Jim Carrey. I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I love Will Ferrell too. He's great.
Now, let me give you some homework. And if you don't want to do it, then you don't have to.
Okay.
But you don't like Jim Carrey or you're not a fan of him. But let me suggest you watch something on Netflix. It's called
Okay.
Jim and Andy. It's a documentary, and a long time ago, Jim Carrey did this movie about Andy Kaufman, which was a comedian back in the 70s, 80s.
Okay.
And it talks about the whole movie and what happened in the aspect. And apparently Jim Carrey, the night before the movie was supposed to shoot, did a seance and would ask Andy Kaufman to come into his body. And it's like he turned into Andy Kaufman the whole movie. It's
Damn.
crazy. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's nuts.
I just added it to my list on Netflix. Right now I'm in the middle of Outlander. My aunt
I don't know
told
what
me
that
to
is.
try it. It's this movie it's a series. It's got like four seasons about this girl who's in the 1940s that goes to some Scottish rock and accidentally gets sent through time to the 1700s and has to like
Okay.
adapt to life. And she marries this Scottish laird. I don't even know what a laird is, but my family is like Scottish, so I've found it super interesting. I love things like Celtic music. It's got a lot of Celtic music and
That sounds like
bagpipes in
something I
it.
would not like, but
Okay.
okay.
It's also got like that love thing in it.
You have to have that,
And so
right?
I'm a chick. I love that shit. Whoops, sorry.
No, hey, say whatever you want. There's no boundaries. But let me ask you this about a rom-com. Is it just me, or are every rom-com kind of the same? Or is that the point of rom-coms? Like they meet, they have fun, they break up, then at the end they get back together. That's every
I
but is
think
it
that's the point.
but is that the whole point of the movies?
Well, it's not the point, but it's like how it's somehow the familiarity of that always happening in a rom-com that
Mhm.
keeps people coming back. Because there's always that like tension and it dials you in, man.
I guess so. But I
It's like
want
I'll sit and watch movies and guess with my friends like what is gonna be the thing that makes them break up.
okay. I can
Because
see
we know
that.
it's happening.
You know it's
What were
gonna
you gonna
happen.
say?
I was gonna say I want someone because I'm obviously you can tell an overweight guy. I'm not that bad, but I'm an overweight guy. And what I want is a literal rom com movie about a fat guy that falls in love with a skinny chick, or the opposite, a skinny. Because here's my
What is
thing.
that movie?
And hang
There
hang
is
on.
one.
Knocked Up, but
Okay.
that's different. But that's different because their whole time they're making fun of the fat guy, and it's
Okay,
like,
wait, what about that movie with Will Smith and that
okay, oh Hitch,
the one where
okay,
they do the Q-tip dance? Hitch, yeah, you're right.
okay. I mean, I guess so. I guess so. Anyways, forget my
Or what
statement.
about the Zookeeper? He's in that too.
That is, yeah, yeah, but is Kevin James a fat guy though? Like I know he was for his role on like The King of Queens, but
Oh, I
you
miss
know
that show. Yeah, you're right. They do need more diversity out of people because in actors and actresses, it's all about the looks. And it's like not
they have,
everyone looks
yeah.
like
It's like
that.
they have the biracial movies, they have the bisexual movies. We need a fat skinny person movie. All right, that's what we need.
That would be that's hilarious the way you set that up.
So what is one? What's because I'm a nerd. I read a lot, and I'm just I know stuff that there's no point of knowing that I find interesting that nobody else does. So like, what is one thing that you know that nobody cares about that you find very interesting that you just know a lot about,
That I know a lot about.
or just that you've
Gosh, I
researched
think
more than anyone, or that you know?
goodness. That's a good question because I feel like I think I need a hobby, Dylan, because the one thing I would say that I know about that not nobody really cares about, I guess, would be like cows because I learned all that from my dad. I love little my thing is I love little random facts or just little weird stuff, but I
Right.
don't go deeper
Right.
than the surface.
Right. That's what I do. Right. Like
Like that I'm pretty sure there's a unicorn is like the country apple for Scotland or something.
okay,
Apple animal. Did I really say apple? Animal.
that makes
Uh
sense. Because you said apple, and I was like, okay.
and unicorns are apples. You didn't know. Um maybe yeah, that and like cows. I'll tell you one of the coolest things I've done with a cow is I felt an unborn cow inside a mama cow before.
I'm okay. No. They asked us to do that in agriculture. I was like, nope, I'm okay.
It was so cool, Dylan. I felt so warm that it was like liquid love.
Well, I don't like
Except I
coughing
had
up. I don't like coughing up mucus, so I don't really want to touch it. So, but on.
I got you. That's so funny.
Like it's for me. Like I know this weird. Like I just read this Steve Jobs book from Walter Isaacson, and I read it twice. For me, it was fascinating, just because he's just a dick, and it's like, what are we doing here, man? You don't have to be a prick. But the coolest thing that I learned about Steve Jobs was when he was working for Disney. and Pixar was
Mhm.
he was hired to build the computers, and they were going to sell them as Pixar. This is the computer that Disney uses to make their movies. And he was like, no, that's not how we're going to do this. You can do that, but we're going to make our own movies on this computer. And then it was just got this weird thing where they were like, okay, now we're going to make this movie. And they made Toy Story, and Tom Hanks was a no name actor at the time when they started, because the movie came out like 96 and they started doing the
Yeah.
voices in like 88. It was like,
Wow.
it was like from in the time it came out, Tim Allen had blown up with Home Improvement and Tom Hanks had blown up with all those movies. And it was just one of those weird things that nobody cares about that I find interesting.
I like that. I have some friends that are obsessed with Disney. I love Disney movies and Tom Hanks. I'll watch anything with Tom Hanks in it.
Have you read his book? Tom Hanks wrote a book. It's not an autobiography, but it's a collection of short stories.
I think
I'm trying to
I
see
don't
if
think
I
I
can.
read it, but I think I have it for
It's
some reason.
It's called An Uncommon Type. I'm looking at my bookshelf now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have the book. I'm so bad about I'll get books and I'll be like, this would be great to read, and I don't read it.
See, that's me too, because it's like that's kind of my, like, I'm obsessed with shoes and records and books, and it's like when I go to like a bookstore, if I'm shopping on like Amazon, I'm like, I have to limit myself to one book, because if not, then I will buy 70 of them and then just be stuck
Dang.
for forever to read it, and then another one come out and I'm just like, screw this book, I'm gonna read this one. I'm just a big book nerd, I guess.
That's cool. I want to get into reading more. I guess I just am bad at budgeting my time and really only budget time for music, it seems.
Well, tell me
I should be
about
before.
the time or when your idea of becoming a singer-songwriter was just the back of a napkin.
It's been so real and like this is it for me for so long that probably the last time I was like that, I was like 12 or 13. I'm 21 now, and it's always been it for me. Like when I was young like that, I think I didn't know what I was doing, and my mom just kept signing me up for stuff like talent shows and you should go sing here, and I was like, okay, here I go. And then things definitely clicked for me and went from the back of the napkin thing. I like that. When I started a band when I was 14, and we were like supposed to be on a tour with John Anderson, and it all didn't happen. We only did 2 dates, one with John Anderson and one with Aaron Tippin. But that was when I was like, oh, this is dope. And then it didn't happen, and I was like, damn it. Well, I'm not quitting until I get to do it again.
Well, yeah. But at least that's on your resume. At least you got to say, I got to play a show with John Anderson and another one with Aaron Tippin.
It was really cool. And a lot of people thought at the Aaron Tippin one, they thought my dad was Aaron Tippin because Aaron Tippin has the same facial hair.
Now, but yeah. I want to know, are you, because I'm a big music nerd, so I knew about all the people from the 80s and 90s when I was 13 or 14, but did you have any clue of who they were? Besides your parents saying, hey, this is a big time person who's from the 80s and 90s.
I knew like a song or two by each of them. Okay. But it really wasn't a like, oh my God thing.
Yeah.
At first. Then I started to dig more into it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I knew Seminole Wind, and I knew You've Got to Stand for Something by Aaron Tippin. That was the extent. But yeah, my parents are big 90s country fans. So it didn't take long for them to catch me up.
I think, in my honest opinion, the 90s, early 2000s is kind of my realm of music. I enjoy what's coming out now. I mean, I'm not going to – I see people all the time complain, Sam Hunt, Florida Georgia Line, whoever you want to say, Hardy, they're not country. Shut up with that, because Garth Brooks is your country, but I'm pretty sure you were saying he's not country too. because he wasn't Willie
Yeah.
Nelson.
Well, it's like every generation likes what they grew up on, and then when it changes, they won't like it. So it's like a never-ending circle. I mean, my parents grew up on that 90s country. I grew up on the 2000s country like you, like 2000s into 2010, right before bro country hit. But
Yeah.
I will admit, that bro country stuff, like the 2014 album from Florida Georgia Line, Anything Goes, I love that album so much. And I was like, gosh, a 8th grader or a freshman in high school, but for some reason I just love that album, even though it's like, oh, bro country.
I remember seeing Florida Georgia Line. They came on the Anything Goes tour. I remember seeing. I went to concert, and I was probably a freshman in high school, so I don't think I was old enough to drive at the time. So I remember my mom took me, and it was Thomas Rhett before he actually blew up, and it was some other guy and Florida Georgia Line. And I remember when they came out, it was the coolest thing because they shot up from the stage. Like they just blew up from the stage and they stepped down.
Dang.
And I remember they just started rocking out. And I remember older people walking out of the Coliseum.
What?
And
really?
And that was kind of the game changer for me, where I was like, people really don't like this. They're complaining, but they actually really don't. And I think that was kind of my first realization of a lot of people are stuck in their ways.
Yeah. It's hard to, welcome new kinds of music if you have one thing and you like it. Like, it's hard for me. I don't love all the pop and rap stuff that's coming out, but I'm pretty picky about it. But like,
right.
I could get down with some Ariana Grande or that WAP song. I love WAP. I love that song. But yeah, like, dude, I was at a Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen concert last year at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville.
What is that guy like in concert, real quick? What is
which
he?
Which one?
Luke Combs.
Luke Combs is very much, he sort of just stands there and sings, but his band is super good, and he's always holding up a red Solo cup, it feels like.
I remember right before Luke Combs blew up. So I started this podcast like almost 5 years ago, and this was kind of right when he was on the edge. He had just released Hurricane. I remember these people telling me, some of my independent friends were like, you have to get Luke Combs. This guy's going to be something one day. And then I was just like, I didn't, because I just let it pass through me, because they say that about everybody. And then
you're right.
I remember when he blew up, I was friends with his guitar player, Kurt. And I was like, hey, Kurt, come do the podcast. Luke is blown up. Obviously, I'm not going to get him. I'm a small podcast. Obviously, it's not going to happen. And then he was like, okay, cool. We were going to do it. And then they went on tour, and then they just blew up. And it's been that steady realm since. And I'm like, man, like that's one regret. Well, I have 2 regrets from doing a podcast, but that's one of them. That was not getting.
I know, it's crazy how much he blew up. But this might surprise you. I sat beside an older couple at that concert, and Morgan Wallen was playing. I think he was playing his song Heartless. And an older couple, probably in their late 40s, early 50s beside me, I heard them yell to each other, "This is real country music." And it was so funny to me, because I was like, I've heard a lot of people dissing Morgan Wallen and going more Luke Combs, because Luke Combs is bringing back that 2000 sound. But they were in awe of Morgan Wallen, and I love Morgan Wallen stuff anyways. But it was super funny, the difference, because it was not what I expected from people of that age.
Man, Morgan Wallen is blowing. He's going to be the Luke Combs here in the next, because he's releasing this new double album in like January. And it's going to be giant.
He's already got some good songs.
Because the dude's I was a fan of Morgan Wallen before he even blew up. Like, he released this first album back in like, I don't know, however, 16, 17. I was a fan of him then. And then just to see it now in 2020 become a number 1 album after like 5 years, you're just like, whoa.
It's crazy. I love that song on that first album, The Way I Talk.
Yeah.
I love that song so much.
but what was cool to me that Morgan Wallen did and went out of his realm was he covered "Cover Me Up" from Jason Isbell.
That was
Not
cool.
not Jason Isbell. But anyways,
Yeah,
he
Jason
is
Isbell.
it Jason
You're right.
Isbell? Okay, all right. I
Yeah, it
was
is.
I
You're
was
right.
like maybe not, but and to me, Morgan Wallen's version is way better than Jason Isbell's, in my
Oh, I'm
opinion,
gonna have to
by a
fight you on
long
that. I
shot.
love
By a
Jason
long shot.
Isbell's
I
version.
enjoyed Jason Isbell, but when I heard Morgan Wallen do it, I said, no, there's no way. Jason Isbell needs to go
Dude,
away now from this song.
a couple months ago, I ended up on Morgan Wallen Twitter. I follow Morgan Wallen on Twitter, and
Mhm.
he went a lot of times. Twitter will show you when people like tweets,
You're right.
and
Yeah.
he would just like tweets from these girls, and all these girls are fawning over him, and they're like, put me in line to marry Morgan Wallen and stuff
Mm.
like that. I don't know how I ended up on that side of Twitter, but that's all I saw for like 2 months straight, just Morgan Wallen. It was pretty funny.
Well, and
But
then now we've seen what happened. What, last month?
I know. Oh gosh.
It got him in trouble.
I saw all the videos on TikTok. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was
But
nuts.
I will fight. I love the Jason Isbell version of Cover Me Up. But
I do too. I do too. But in just my honest opinion, I think the Morgan Wallen is better. I don't know.
that's okay.
I guess it's just because I'm a Jason
It's a
Isbell
more
fan, but I'm more of a country fan than that side. I guess.
Jason Isbell's voice is so different than country radio.
Yeah.
Like it's so different. And Morgan Wallen has become very known as like a country voice. So I could see that. It's still a good version.
Yeah.
I just hate that probably so many people think that Morgan Wallen wrote Cover Me Up when it's just Jason Isbell that wrote it.
And Jason Isbell is making so much money with Morgan Wallen's version now. Like it's not even
Oh, I
funny.
bet.
Well, look, can you
Yeah.
do a few more minutes? I know we scheduled for like an hour. Can you do a few?
Yes.
I got a few more questions for you. I figured I'd ask.
All right, hit me.
You're cool with it. So I did not realize this, but you were on American Idol a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
What?
I always forget about that.
Well, I don't even, because I remember watching it because one of my heroes is Bobby Bones, and he was the mentor, and that's the reason I was watching American Idol. Let's be honest. And I was like,
I love Bobby Bones.
but I was like, I don't remember her on American Idol. I don't think so. I went back and I was watching the audition, and then you were making it to the knockout round, whatever they call it, the Hollywood Week.
Hollywood Week? Yeah.
So because I didn't realize, and I was watching your vlogs on YouTube, they bring you in a shuttle to the actual venue from American Idol.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, everyone's hyped up in the beginning. What's it like when you leave? Because not everybody on that shuttle is making the cut.
Yeah, actually when we left, we were all really happy. Not happy that we were taken out, but you make such good friends. Like, I kid you not, I had the time of my life hanging out with those people. And when I got kicked off the show, first round of Hollywood Week, me and probably 15 other people that had gotten kicked out that day just hung out in a hotel room and sang songs and sort of partied, and it was really fun. And yeah, the morale, of course, tears were shed.
Yeah.
They know how to make you cry. I cried on camera like 3 times, but yeah, the morale was good. Everyone was like fine, because you make the friendships you make, they happen so quick because you have so much to bond on, that if you get kicked off but your friend is still going, you're super happy for them. That's sort of how, in my experience with musicians, the number one thing is a win for one is a win for all, you know? So yeah, it was really fun. I wasn't sad to leave. I was so tired, long days. They had great catering though. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
They had like steak and chicken, and it was just like fancier than a Golden Corral. I love Golden Corral. But yeah, morale was still pretty high.
What were the hours like? Because I don't know, do they dramatize them on the show, or what you're seeing on the show is actually not dramatized
really
at all?
Yeah, it is straight up real. I remember having like a 16-hour day. 12-hour, 16-hour days are not new for that show. I think it's all a part of, they want you to break, it's a reality show too in a way, and they want you to like push to your limit.
And they want to
And
see
see
how
if you
far
really.
they want to see how far you can go, because they know that's the life that you're headed to if you're to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Who was the coolest judge besides Katy Perry giving her your shoes?
Which was so cool. I still have the shoes.
What?
I really like Lionel Richie, because
Yeah, I
he's
would.
not like,
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would say that like Luke Bryan is the cool one, but Lionel Richie is like the sweet, like sweet
Grandpa
uncle or
figure.
something. Grandpa. Yeah, sort of grandpa figure. You're right.
I
But
would.
yeah,
I would.
Lionel Richie was just so
It would be
nice.
cool to meet Luke Bryan, just because that's what you're listening to now. But I would absolutely flip. Like, Lionel Richie is just, you're a legend. You're a classic, and it's
Uh-huh.
like one of my favorite albums of all time is Lionel Richie, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's.
You can just tell being in a room with him, he's so genuine and sweet. And he has a very calming speaking voice.
And he didn't
Just the
let
way he
fame get
talks,
to his
very
head. He
calming.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like he does it. He's humble. He understands what it's like to be poor and actually now have money and can help people get to that same
Exactly.
stage.
Man, I forget about that experience. It was like 2 years ago at this point. Crazy.
Why do you forget about it though? Like, was it just obviously
It
things have
happened so
happened? But,
quick.
okay.
That's why it just happened so quick that you're in and out within like 2 or 3 days, and you don't really have time to process what happened. And I think a lot of it was forgetting that it happened is because of, I got booted so early in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got kicked out first round of Hollywood Week, that I really didn't go through the, you could say like slightly traumatizing things that people did, especially for groups. And I spent a lot of my time after I left the show just rooting for everyone else and like watching for them. I was also felt relieved to leave, because say if I had won the show, I probably would have been put into a contract and wouldn't be able to finish school. And I love going to school at Belmont. And
Well, does American, because I've had a couple people from The Voice on, does American Idol have contracts for the contestants? Because The Voice is very strict of how they, you're not allowed to do this, this, or this. You have to do this, and it's like, is American Idol? I don't know if you can say, but like, did they have like a contract where you're like, you have to da this and da that?
I think I remember signing a contract that was like, if you get into the top 40, things are a little different. But like as soon as I left the show, I was free to do whatever I wanted. I had no ties to American Idol whatsoever. I think if you're like, maybe not the top 40, but like the top 5 or 12, maybe they have a little bit more control over you. But other than that, it felt very free. Like I've had friends, I still know some of the people that were in like the top things of American Idol, and they've been able to just do whatever they want after the show,
Who won that season you were on?
Lane Hardy.
Lane Hardy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He was the one that like was on the season before, and then
he came back with yeah.
with a girl to like play guitar, and then he auditioned. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, SJ, I got a few more questions for you. How many of these interview type things as an artist have you done?
Oh,
like,
gosh.
Have you done a lot, or is it just a little bit?
I've done a lot recently because I've decided to grab the bulls by the horns and just like, if someone wants to interview me, I will do it. I don't care. Like, I don't think it's right to be stingy on who you interview with. It's just cool that someone is interested in you in the first place. So probably like this year, it feels like a lot, but it really isn't. Maybe like 20 this year so far, maybe.
That's the thing you mentioned.
But I have a bunch of stuff over like the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of irritates me about certain artists. Like, I had someone a while ago, but they were like, I was like, hey, you want to do the podcast, yada yada. And they were like, sure, send me over all your information, the how many people you have, how many subscribers. I'm like, you have 2,000 followers on Instagram and you're worried about what I have. I'll send it over. And then I sent it over. They're
Mhm.
like, no, I'll pass. And I'm like, well, that's fine.
That's weird.
And then they came back to me to do the podcast because I had one of their
Oh,
friends on and I declined them. It was just
wow.
like,
Yeah,
look what you're doing.
that's so weird because I feel like we're all in this together. I
Yeah.
mean, and what happens, it's sort of an equal thing. Your listeners on the podcast will hear about me, and my
Yep.
listeners will hear about you. It's an equally beneficial thing.
Yep.
That's how I see it. And
And
of course, like if you don't have time to do things, I won't do them. But right now I'm at a point in my career where I can make time
well, yeah.
for
And
anything.
here's my thing. And I say this all the time, and it's not just because you said it, but it's like like I try my hardest to get bigger people on. Like it's just you want to branch out and get bigger people on. And I was
Yeah.
trying to get this one person on, and they were like, no, man, yada yada, you're not big enough. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I was reading their book at the time, and I was like, that's fine. But remember that person that gave you that chance when you were on camera
Hmm.
and you didn't know who they were. And it's like, and in the book, you said that you were going to pay back. You've never done that in your life. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's just like that one shot. It irritates you to a point where you're just like, you want to be done with it. Like, and I'm pretty sure you're like that. Music, you're just like, it's not going as fast as I want it. It's not going like I want it in the same direction. I'm done. I'm calling it quits.
Yeah. It can be frustrating. I seriously get where you're coming from. But all those no's lead up to a big ol'
A big
yes.
yes. Now,
Knock on wood.
doing all the interviews that you've done in the past, what is the one question that you get that, or you're going into an interview and like, I know they're going to ask me about this, so I better just prepare.
Oh, it's definitely about farming. Because
Yeah.
that's like so much a part of my identity, and I love it so much that I'm sure everyone is going to ask me about it. So when you started this, I was not surprised. Well, I was surprised the depth of your questions, but I wasn't surprised you asked about farming.
Now, what is a question or a topic that you're like, I wish this person would ask me about this because I never get to talk about it?
I wish people would ask about songwriting more and like songwriting influences, because I feel like I just want to highlight the people that I write songs with and highlight the importance of the songwriter. That's like one of my passions I've found over the past 3 or 4 years, especially moving to Nashville. It's just like this appreciation for the songwriter.
Who's your songwriting
'Cause
influences?
I love Brandy Clark and Charlie Warsham's
Mhm.
songwriting, and Ashley McBryde, though she is an artist, she is an incredible songwriter, and people like Ashley Gorley and Nicole Gallion. If you haven't heard of these people, you ought to look them up, Dylan.
Absolutely, they're fantastic. Man,
Yes, they are.
I enjoy Shane McAnally a lot. Like,
I love his stuff
his
too.
story is just fantastic, and I think obviously he not writing songs by himself, but it's just like kind of during interviews can know that person to a certain extent. So it's like I kind of know what's going on in his head based on what he's done, so I know he can write a damn good song and make it really,
Mhm.
really, really, influential to everybody.
He is one of the best. And one of the funniest people ever too. Like I follow him on Instagram.
Mhm.
He's hilarious. I love him. I would give anything to meet him and just
Do you know he answered one of my questions I had about gay people? Like but it was like I didn't ask it. It was just like I was always thinking it. And my question was, okay, they have 2 kids together. Him and his husband have 2 kids together. And I was like, well, they call one dad, but what do they call the other? Like it was just I wonder what they call them. It's one of those weird things. And he was like, Dad and Pop.
a
And I was like, oh,
curiosity.
there you go.
Dad
Dad
and
and
Pop.
Pop. There you go. And I was like, okay, answers my question. I don't need no more.
That's sweet.
So who is your all-time favorite songwriter of all time?
Favorite songwriter of all time?
Like if you're just like,
Um,
forget the people we just mentioned.
yeah.
If you're like,
Uh,
hey, you get one shot, you're dying tomorrow, and they come to you and they're like, your dying wish is to write with one songwriter. Who is that songwriter?
Chris Stapleton.
Oh man.
Chris Stapleton. It's like a tie between Chris Stapleton and Eric Church, but they both have just a way with words.
Have you listened to Chris Stapleton's new album?
Yes. Oh, it's on repeat. It's on repeat.
He had a
You don't
song
even have to. You don't even have to
that
ask.
that was one of those albums where I was scared it was going to be bad, just because his other three have been great,
Mm-hmm.
and it was still just as good as it was as the other ones. But he had a song on there about his dog,
Oh yeah,
and I
yeah. Is it
remember Maggie's
so
song.
sweet? Mm-hmm.
I remember, I lost my dog a year and a half ago, and it was like just 2 weeks
Oh, I'm
ago. It
so
was kind of
sorry.
like I let that part go because it was just like that was me. Like it seen me grow from 12 to 21, and it was like, and it was one of those where you just have to let it go. But then that song that he did was she lost her back of her legs and then she died. That's exactly what happened to mine, and it was like, oh,
Oh wow.
he had that same feeling of okay, because he mentioned in the song that he would say, okay, I'll take you somewhere if you're not better tomorrow. That's what happened to me. That's what I said. And then there was no tomorrow. And it was just like
Oh.
somebody feels that pain. You know what I mean? It was like somebody feels it and has been through it. And I can understand and appreciate it. And that for me is why Chris Stapleton is one of the best.
Oh, he is. That is such a sad and sweet song. He also has this song on the album called uh Watch You Burn,
Yeah,
and
about
it's
the Nashville shooter.
the shooting. Uh-huh.
That
Yeah.
was nuts.
I love that album.
But look,
Man.
SJ, I appreciate you being on here. I'm cutting it short. I know you got to go. Been on here for over an
Songs to
hour.
write, cows to work.
Go ahead and give out all your information. Any plugs you got, take as long as you need.
Yeah, I am everywhere. If everywhere on social media at SJ McDonald Music. I'm on YouTube and TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the stuff. And I have 3 songs out on Spotify. My goal with my music is to have a little bit for everyone. So if you like country music, head on over. Just look up SJ McDonald and let me know what you think. And thanks, Dylan, for having me. This has been really fun.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. And SJ, we'll get you back on in the next however long you got another project, whatever. We'll get you back on and have a chat. But I do
Yep.
appreciate you taking a chance on me and actually giving me something to do on this gloomy Monday.
Oh, I know. I feel that. Well, I will catch you later.
All right, appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
See ya.